Hello, everybody. We know that we're the late night cooking show tonight on Wednesday, June the 5th. And Dee just came in off the field watching her daughter. I just came in from the hairdresser, so it's a little crazy here. So just want to say hello to everybody. Tonight we are going to be talking about zucchini, and Dee has cooked up some awesome recipes. Dee, I've been looking at your pictures all day. I haven't told you, but I've been doing this like 5-day fast. So today is day 2. And looking at cooking pictures was not easy.
No doubt.
How are you, Dee? How's the weather up in the Hat?
It's good. It's good. A little windy, but nice and warm now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was pretty warm here today. So, all right, you guys, we're going to jump up here and we're going to throw up our zucchini recipes. And if you love zucchini and you would like these low carb cooking recipes, be sure that you just type in the word newsletter and we will send you a little post in your Facebook Messenger box, and you can just subscribe to the recipes. So if you already get our newsletter, you don't need to do that. But if you don't, it's a 2-step process. All right, Dee, tell us about these. And last year we did a zucchini show, but these zucchini boats look like way prettier than the last ones you made.
Well, you know what? I just keep trying to, when I remake a recipe, I just keep trying to make them better, or a new version or some variations when putting them together. And so zucchinis make fantastic boats. And it doesn't matter really what your filling is, whether you're doing, some lean ground chicken breast or turkey breast or extra lean ground beef. I roast the zucchini and then hollow them out, and I use that zucchini and I mix it with my meat and my vegetables. And usually a little bit of egg is my glue. It's like my cheese to hold it all together, and you pop it back in the oven and bake it until it's set, and it is so delicious and it makes so much food. And so, I mean, you could fill a ton of oats with the filling. You can customize it so that I'll give you some interesting fun facts. So an average, the size of zucchinis that I like, I was actually quite impressed with myself, because it's about 5.3 ounces is 1 cup of zucchini. And literally little things make me happy, but when I was weighing my zucchinis, they were coming out at like 10.8 ounces. So once I cut the little end off, it was actually a perfect 2 cups. And so how easy is that to slice a 2-cup zucchini in half and roast it and use the insides? And it's just so simple. And so filling. So if you have any questions, of course you're going to get the recipe, but
what exactly did you fill these with?
So that is pictured is the, so it's extra lean ground beef and beaten egg and grape tomatoes and colored peppers and green onions and what else did I have in there? Well, so I use my taco seasoning recipe to season that extra lean ground beef, and I'm very generous with that seasoning, and garlic and salt and pepper as well. So it's super, super tasty. And I had this in the office today at lunch, and everybody kept poking their heads in the door because they're like, oh my gosh, what are you eating? It smells so good. And so I'm like, well, so I always like to give them my spiel too on what I'm having.
Eating from the low carb cooking show. So let's say hi to a couple of people. And Dana popped up.
Hello.
And Sandy, nice to see you as usual. And Ellen says yummy. So you guys know, if you are interested in any of these recipes, all you have to do is type in the word newsletter. And every Monday we send out our newsletter. And so like the first picture was just so yummy, but they just kept getting better. So I am a total fan of zucchini chips. And you know, of course, in maintenance, I love to have them with a little bit of Greek tzatziki, which is kind of like a light Greek yogurt with dill and what have you. So if you're, you know, in maintenance, I love that Dee makes these recipes so that they cross all borders. And in Dee's next cookbook, which is going to be easy phase 1 meals that, you know, include not only your protein, but all of your 2 cups of veggies in one meal. So these are like full meals that she's creating. So in the next cookbook, it will also outline if you are, you know, in phase 1, if you are in maintenance, here's all the goodies that you can add. And so that makes it, because, you know, as Dee and I both know, we've both been in and out of maintenance for, I don't know, our whole lives probably. But, you know, all these recipes have to really cross over into our day-to-day lives. So, Dee, tell us about these gorgeous zucchini chips, and that dip looks amazing.
So they're really neat. You know, you can use anything. You can go so simple. Like you can just do, you know, a Walden Farm or an IP dip, or you can create your own. And every week I'm going to try to give you some new dip or dressing ideas. And today you're going to see that I actually use a dressing, and I also use it as a little bit of a marinade as well. So we want to just give you some really simple ideas, but that can cross over into a lot of places. But zucchini chips are oh so very easy to prepare, to make. They're really nice and crispy. They hold spice beautifully. And so you can dress them to your heart's desire. I did a batch that had just good old plain sea salt on them with a little bit of olive oil. And then I did a batch that had coriander and cumin and paprika and a tiny bit of garlic. And actually what I did was that I mixed the 2 batches together. So kind of like a little bit of a, you're going to guess what you're going to get when you put your hand in the bowl. And I had these on our open house table at work today, and you can't keep your hand out of the bowl. You just can't. Anybody who walks by and puts one in their mouth, and they kept saying, "What is this?" Like, it's zucchini. What? So it's kind of one of my favorite things to do, because then even clients or customers in the store that aren't clients, it really piques their interest. And we actually do have some people that come in and they stroll by our side of the store just to see if I have anything on that table. So some little tips. Some little tips about zucchini chips. The trick for crispy chips is you're going to remove the moisture from those chips once you mandolin slice them. So this is something you guys hear me talk about oh so very often, is removing moisture. So once they're mandolin sliced, you sprinkle with a little bit of salt and you let the moisture come out naturally. You dab it up with some clean tea towels or paper towel. I actually like to put them on a cookie sheet on paper towel, apply more paper towel or a clean tea towel, and then put something heavy over top so that it soaks it all up. And then you bake at a low heat. So guys, try not to rush it. So I like 225 degrees, takes about an hour, and depending on the size, and maybe an hour and change for a batch. So you just, kind of check on them. And that way they come out crispy and not burnt. So if your heat is too high, parts of your chips will burn and other parts will still be mushy. And these ones in the picture, they are crispy all the way through, center to the outside edges. So be patient.
What if someone's using an air fryer? Does it work the same, or do you just really prefer your oven? Do you feel that that's better?
For making chips, I do prefer my oven, but there's actually a reason why I like the oven better than the air fryer is that 2 cups of zucchini, like when you mandolin 2 cups, you get a lot of rounds. So just logistically space. So I can do a couple of trays in my oven, whereas with the air fryer, now I see there's a brand new air fryer out and it has multiple shelves. It has 3 layers of baking. So that might be the one to try. There's a brand new Power XL, 3 layers. And so that would be, so like for my house, 1 little layer of air frying just isn't going to cut it. I would actually end up spending more time doing batches and batches, right? So I do like the oven for just because I can do so many. I have three big racks in my oven, right? So yeah.
I can see that. Well, they look absolutely delicious, and I think this is the oregano dip that you made. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and I think that crossed over to another recipe that we had.
Yeah, it's actually in 3 tonight.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just wanted to show you how something so simple can be so tasty. And there's some more. There's some more oregano dip just right on the tray.
Oh, okay. All right. So you made, I love kebabs. So my boyfriend is Greek, so he loves a kebab, and they're so simple and easy to make. And what meats and things did you choose here other than the zucchini?
So this is actually a completely vegetarian kebab. It is just grape tomatoes, mushroom, and zucchini. And then it has the lemon, fresh oregano, garlic dressing. And so this is how simple this is. The cubed veggies on the stick, on the grill until those little cherry tomatoes are just about ready to burst. Remove from the grill and brush the fresh dressing on them while it's hot. Ridiculously simple and ridiculously delicious. And so those actually got put in the fridge overnight until the next day, and they were even better the next day, reheated.
So you basically marinated them in the oregano sauce then and left them in the fridge?
Nope.
Oh, you put the oregano sauce on afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I took them off the barbecue piping hot, brushed on the fresh dressing, and because when the veggies are so hot like that, the dressing just soaks right into those barbecued veggies. And it's something, you've heard me say it if you watch us before. You don't need to oil your vegetables or season your vegetables before they go on the grill. Now you can, but you don't have to. And especially if you're in phase 1, it's way harder to control oil amounts and keep track of oil and those types of things when you're using lots. If you're brushing the grill and brushing your veggies, the beautiful part of phase 4 maintenance is that's great. You have way more leeway and wiggle room to work those fresh, healthy oils into your daily macros. But in phase 1, we have to be really diligent about knowing what we're putting on things. So 1, this recipe has zero oil in it until you use the dressing. And then when I make dressings, I control the amount of oil. So I always, my full recipe is either going to have, 6 teaspoons of oil or 8. So, there's 3 servings in here or 4 servings in here. Really easy to divide out.
Yeah.
It's super important for me to know that if I'm making a batch of something, I need to be able to divide it out equally. So 2 servings or 4 servings or 6 servings. Yeah.
Well, and for, for those of you that really, do your meal prep and all of that, it's important to figure it out so that you can set a bunch of them aside and eat several during the week. Yeah, that's great. So, go ahead.
Sorry. And so grilling things like kebabs, veggie kebabs, super easy, fast, simple, and easy to construct and to prepare. And they're still good the next day, or you can have those skewers ready to go. They'll stay nice in your fridge for a few days easily. You can have them done ahead of time for fast meal prep as well. And then, you know what? Everybody in your house can customize their own kebabs. So you can have an assortment, you know, so maybe somebody in your house who's in maintenance, you know, maybe they're going to add onions to theirs, or maybe somebody wants some peppers on theirs, so on and so forth. Maybe somebody wants some eggplant, right? So you can have nice bowls of chopped veggies. Everybody can design their skewers, and away you go. So super easy to customize. And yeah, Sandy, that's awesome. Like a great veggie to take to a cookout. Yeah, love it.
And when you are going to events during the summer and you are in phase one, take a bunch of things that you can share with people. And this is the perfect thing. Oh, we just brought a tray of kebabs. And then you know you're covered. You don't have to worry about a bunch of, you know, proteins that are filled with barbecue sauce that's sugar filled and what have you. And then you walk away and you tell your coach, oh, well, I went to a barbecue this weekend and, you know, I wasn't prepared. So
yeah,
this is the perfect recipe for that, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so and you know, I love me a frittata. I'm an egg and breakfast girl, so I could just eat breakfast all the time.
Yeah, and so zucchini frittatas, I mean, your options are endless, really. They so are. Again, I was kind of on a mandolin slicing. I don't know. I love the little mandolin rounds, the nice thin, even slices. And so, I mean, you don't have to do it that way. You could do long lengths. You could zoodle them. You could just slice them with a vegetable peeler. But these layered so beautifully around the herbs and eggs. And for a complete vegetarian meal, you know, you could even add some of our faux feta on top and baked. Any veggies are a go, you know, like, so not just limited to the ones you see here. So this is definitely, zucchini frittatas are definitely somewhere down the line. You're going to see another version from us for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And if you have not joined Dee's Recipes Facebook group, get over there and join. One of the things that we're trying to do slowly but surely is in the Dee's Recipes, there's a tab called Units. And we're trying to get all the units to have different recipes as far as breaking them out for different vegetables and different proteins and brunch and just a lot of different ideas so that you guys can go in there and access that as a resource. And we just recently, now I was telling Dee, you know, Dee and I have been, you know, married to our show here for about a year and just had our anniversary. And I was telling Dee, you know, when we started last year, there was about 280 people in Dee's group, and now there's over 5,000. And just, you know, thank you so much for all your support and participating, and that's how we share. So we really, really love that, don't we, Dee?
I sure do.
Now this, again, you know, I so love, I'm going to Italy in about 2.5 weeks. And lots of zucchini, lots of grilled eggplant, which eggplant was our show last week, and all these tomatoes. It's making me excited for Italy. Yeah. So this is beautiful and fabulous.
Yeah, so I am very, very spoiled, and literally blocks away from where I work are fresh greenhouses. So those little beautiful tomatoes come out of a greenhouse, organic, fresh. Lots of greenhouses use bug warfare instead of chemical warfare, so it's awesome. And usually I can get fresh zucchini at one of them as well. When their yellow summer squash is ready, it's just amazing. But the most impressive part for me right now is the fresh herbs. So that is fresh oregano that you see as the garnish in the middle of that plate there. And that fresh oregano is what is in the dressing and recipes and in this fresh summer salad. So super simple salad. So you can, I like the julienne, so I like baby zucchini and summer squash for this salad because they're really firm and compact. So they hold up better in a salad like this. So nice little julienne pieces, the fresh grape tomatoes, fresh oregano, um, salt and pepper, and then I did the lemon oregano garlic dressing on this as well. And a tiny little bit goes such a long way. So it coats the zucchini and the grape tomatoes and oregano really simple. Super fresh, really delicious. Honestly, this week, the more simple the recipes were, the more flavorful they were. It's just, when sometimes I think we overthink recipes. We think that there doesn't have to be a lot of steps and there doesn't actually have to be a ton of ingredients. The tomatoes and the zucchini with that tiny bit of fresh oregano, it's the bomb. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
So.
And when we go to other countries, it's really interesting to me how simple and delicious people eat. Like when I go to Italy every year, I never gain a pound. I love the all the fresh options that are always available, and people eat fresh, real, simple foods, and they're absolutely delicious. And
Yeah.
definitely, start eating this way and changing your entire lifestyle for the rest of your life, and that's when things will change for you. I'm looking for my favorite recipe right there. So
Oh my goodness.
you know that I always end with my favorite recipe. And if you guys don't have Dee's baking ebook, you need to download it because she makes the most delicious recipes. And if you need some bread, you need something that feels like you're eating carbs, but you're staying on plan, definitely this is what you want to do is grab Dee's ebook over at deesrecipes.com. So I know that you were fine-tuning this recipe. There was a request out on Dee's Recipes for the lemon matcha, which is going away. Did you redo this recipe with the vanilla?
Well, so actually, I was so I had done the lemon matcha cake before a long time ago. So when that request came up, I'm like, no problem, I'll just repost my recipe. I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, and I'm like, did I never actually write it up? Did I just post it one day and, not write it up? And so I was going to write it up. Yeah. So I knew that I was going to do the vanilla chai zucchini cake this week. And so I thought, well, you know what? I will just whip up a lemon matcha one at the same time with zucchini. And it was perfect timing because what I know about the lemon matcha drink, so anybody who knows what matcha is, it's green tea, like it's tea leaves. That protein drink powder is super duper dry. It would be it's just like licking sawdust. So it is actually on its own it's great as a refreshing hot drink or a cold drink, but it's not great for baking unless you pair it with some moisture. And so the zucchini lends its hand there with a little bit of oil and a little bit of egg yolk as well, really helps quite a bit. So sometimes when you're doing baking and there's no fats in your recipes or no veggies for moisture, it's really dry. And so egg whites help to puff things up, but they're also drying because it's pure protein. And so I was just making a couple double batches of cake at the same time. So
wow.
one of my very most popular cake recipes is a zucchini coffee cake. And I have done a chocolate chip zucchini cake. I've done a double chocolate zucchini cake. I have done the coffee zucchini cake. So of course you see the theme here. Zucchini is an awesome ingredient in cake. But one thing that zucchini does, it is such a mild flavor that whatever spice or extracts that you put in there, it takes on absolutely gorgeous. And so the vanilla chai latte drink is awesome in baking. And then I also have a vanilla chai spice blend that I make and then add to our flour as well before we get baking. So it's a super aromatic and flavorful cake. And these went to the clinic today as well. And they were a hit. And a big part of that is the aroma of them. So I actually took one in this morning right out of the oven before I went to work. So I had some that I did yesterday, but I whipped up another one this morning before I went in, and that gets, the juice is flowing, the taste buds going, the interest peaked. So it's a lot of fun.
You guys Melissa's a lucky girl to have you on board and making goodies. What I wouldn't give to have somebody bringing in coffee, cake, and stuff that my clients could try. Love it, Dee. Thank you, Sandy. You're very complimentary tonight. Really appreciate it.
Sandy.
Yeah. So let's just talk for a minute as we close out our show, Dee. Always interesting to see what the topic of the week is in the clinic. Tell me what's been coming up for you guys over there.
Oof, I've got a lot of dieters transitioning from phase 3 to phase 4, and they're scared to eat. They're scared to eat. They're like, man, that's a lot of food. Or man, I can't eat fat. No, I can't eat eggs. My doctor says my cholesterol's too high. And I have to stop myself, and I'm being 100% honest with you. I have to stop myself from doing this. Every time somebody says,
I do the same thing, because you know what, eggs have nothing to do with cholesterol, but
right? So they're scared.
Your high blood pressure or your high blood sugar is what's causing your cholesterol.
Yeah. Totally. It was a really common theme today. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, though. It's to take the time and explain, different ways, that you can get those fats in. So you don't have to eat gobs of cheese and avocados, and you don't have to glug the olive oil jug. There's so many ways that you can add so much nutrients to your food in tiny amounts, but they all give you good whole food sources and lots of healthy calories attached to fat. So what's interesting enough too is that I have a few that are under eating in phase 4 because they're scared to eat. Very common. So today was, especially today, was a lot of talking and just revisiting about whole food. And another really interesting part of that was, I can't eat that much protein. But then a couple minutes later in the conversation, but I'm starving mid-afternoon. Okay. So you just kind of got your own answer. So you know what to reach for if you're starving mid-afternoon. But of course, many have been taught for many years that, protein sources are bad and whole healthy fats are bad. And so I think it's still going to take a lot of time and education. And one of, the biggest pushes is just whole food, learning what whole food is. Shout out to Ed Reardon again today from
Results 22.
Yeah, Results 22. Yeah. Had a great graphic today on sugar. What does sugar look like? Here's a beautiful graphic. I shared it from there, and I know it's been shared from my page, I think 10 times today. Those visuals are so important. So, food that people are used to reaching for when they're in a hurry or when this will do, this will tide me over. So just talking language, so if you stop at a gas station and you're absolutely famished and you've had no time, and I'm not being condescending, this is a real conversation, then you know what? You're going to bypass the chips and you're going to bypass the chocolate bars, and maybe you're going to buy a small bag of peanuts, or maybe you're going to buy a small bag of sunflower seeds, or maybe that cooler is going to have a couple of boiled eggs, or maybe, it's not perfect, but maybe you're going to buy a little bit of beef jerky versus just grabbing the chips and chocolate bars. So we just need to think about it. We need to talk about it, and we need to find ways to cope with things. So of course, guys, I was talking for maintenance, not phase one, but
yeah. I was going to clarify that. I think that also, you know, from my standpoint, I really talk a lot in my clinic about when we phase out, we're not living on protein bars and protein shakes. Are we supplementing with those things periodically? Yes. But is it better than grabbing a bag of chips? Yes. But to live off of and I think part of, you know, the reason that we stabilize ourselves and we go through phases 2 and phases 3 and out into phases 4 is that we have to be eating a whole food diet. We really have to understand that the bars and shakes that you were eating in phase 1 are just transitional, and they're the prescription to getting the weight off. But in real life, we need to be eating zucchini boats and zucchini chips, and you know, if you need some little cake, have some vanilla chai cake. But honestly, we have to be learning to eat real whole foods and organic, hopefully. And so that's a really good message today, Dee. I like that one.
Well, and you know what? And as a, you know, even for coaches in clinics, you don't have to be the expert on everything immediately. But I think that one of the biggest things is I get amazing ideas from other coaches in clinics all the time. So don't be scared to use them, and don't be scared to ask for help, or don't be scared to share good ideas.
Hit the share button. Hit the share button, you guys. Always hit the share button.
And also being willing to take a look and diverge into things that maybe you don't even eat yourselves, to come together with some food combinations for, you know, maybe you have a client who just doesn't do dairy, but you know what, they could, you know, so what could I put in my smoothie instead of yogurt? Well, how about some full fat coconut cream? You know, that's nice and thick. It'll give you some, you know, so just really start talking, you know, learning some more, you know, whole food options and nutrients, and you know, what is truly a fat, what is truly a carbohydrate, you know, what are some other sources of protein. You know, that seems to be a big one too. So once clients are done with phase 2 and 3, they're like, I'm sick of protein, and I'm like, oh, well, let's talk about that.
Well, you know, and there are a lot of plant-based proteins, so you know, trying some new things, why not take a plant-based cooking class, or, you know, maybe that's something that we'll do later on, you know, in the fall, talk about some of the plant-based proteins would be nice to do also. But you know, really, I think for me, one of the things that I will do as a client is going into maintenance is take a look at their health profile, and that told us what they like to eat before. And so then what we can do is say, okay, so before we jump back into all the old habits, let's take a look at what we used to eat and figure out how to make exchanges and how to have those 2 or 3 indulgences each week that are off of that, you know, health profile sheet. So maybe, you know, they liked some nuts in the afternoon. So determining how many nuts that is and what kind of nuts those are. Or, you know, maybe they liked some berries in the morning, and how much is a serving. And you know, that's another thing is understanding serving sizes. And so maintenance is a big subject, which we don't have time for tonight. But so that's awesome. So if you're going into maintenance, I do have a group called Maintain Don't Cake Summer Challenge. Jump over there. I'll put a little link in here, and jump over there and join us if you're going into maintenance, because we will be doing a 8-week maintaining challenge over the summer, and it starts on June 24th. So Dee, thank you so much. We want to say hi to one more person here. Deborah, thanks for joining us from Texas. All right. Have a good one, you guys. Have a super, super week. We hope you enjoy these recipes. And when you make them, do us a favor, post a picture and show us what you made. We would love to see it. All right.
That's
Good night.
awesome. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Have a good one. Good night, John.